Urgent New York Giants fans. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here, we bring you daily videos with the latest New York Giants updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Alright, Giants fans, today we have an incredible story to tell you. It's one of those NFL draft stories that just keeps giving, and it involves a player who was once considered a top-tier talent, a potential franchise quarterback, but who surprisingly fell further than almost anyone expected. The name? Shedeur Sanders. Yes, the son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, who had everyone talking last season during his incredible stint at Colorado. But what happened in the draft that made him fall so far? And how did the Giants get involved in this saga? Well, stick around, because this story is packed with twists, turns, and a lot of lessons about the league, team strategies, and player evaluations. Let's start with a quick recap about the draft itself, because this wasn't just any ordinary event. Every year, the NFL draft is a showcase of talent, hope, and a bit of fortune, but this year, something unusual happened. A fifth-round pick, Shedeur Sanders, overshadowed everything. Imagine that, an athlete who was once projected as a potential top 5 pick, suddenly sliding all the way down to pick number 144. Now, for the untrained eye, that might seem like just a bad day, but for NFL insiders and Giants fans, it opens up a world of questions. What went wrong? Why did such a promising quarterback fall so far? And what does that mean for the league and for teams like the Giants that were paying close attention? The story begins with the buzz around Shedeur Sanders' pre-draft process. Reports started circulating that teams had serious reservations about him, not because of his talent, no, his arm talent, athletic ability, and football IQ are undeniable, but because of his attitude during interviews, his perceived entitlement, and some off-field concerns. These are the kinds of things that NFL teams take very seriously, especially when it comes to leadership qualities, teamwork, and the culture they want to establish in their locker room. It's one thing to be a talented player, it's another to be a good teammate, a good leader, and someone who fits into the team's long-term vision. Now, some of you might be asking, wait, wasn't he supposed to be the next big thing? Why did teams back away? Well, according to various reports, including insights from veteran NFL analysts and insiders, the hesitation boiled down to a few key issues. First, there was the perception of Shedeur's attitude during interviews. Boomer Esiason, the legendary quarterback-turned-media personality, shared some interesting insights on his show, saying that multiple teams took Sanders off their draft boards because of how he carried himself in interviews. It's not just about the X's and O's, NFL teams are constantly evaluating character and leadership potential, especially for a quarterback position that demands presence, maturity, and the ability to handle pressure. Esiason went further and mentioned that ownership groups, who have the final say in draft decisions, were wary of Sanders' perceived entitlement and brashness. These traits, while sometimes beneficial in a competitive environment, can also be red flags if they border on arrogance or if they signal a lack of humility. And, of course, Deion Sanders' own comments about possibly steering Shedeur away from certain teams didn't help his stock either. That kind of public messaging about where a player might or might not want to go can be seen as a distraction or a sign that the player isn't fully committed to a particular franchise. But here's the kicker, initially, Shedeur was considered a top-tier talent, even a potential number 1 overall pick. His impressive stats at Colorado, his leadership qualities, and his ability to throw on the run had many scouts and analysts projecting him as a future NFL star. Yet, as the draft approached, his stock started to drop. Why? Because teams began to see him as a player with high-end traits, but also one who might bring some baggage, whether that's off-field issues or personality quirks. The NFL, after all, is a league where character can be just as important as talent. Now, moving past the first rounds, the draft board started to shift. Some teams, like the New Orleans Saints, who were in need of a quarterback but also cautious about drafting someone with potential off-field concerns, decided to pass on Sanders altogether. They went with Tyler Shaw instead, a veteran who brought stability but not quite the same upside. The Seahawks and Browns also made decisions that didn't include Sanders. Jalen Milroe and Dylan Gabriel were their choices, respectively, highlighting how teams prioritized different traits and evaluations. But here's where it gets really interesting, especially for us Giants fans. The Cleveland Browns, who had been linked to a variety of quarterbacks in the draft, made a bold move. Despite the concerns surrounding Sanders, and despite him falling into the 5th round, the Browns saw enough potential, perhaps a bit of a gamble, to trade up and select him. They did so with the hope that Sanders could develop into either a future starter or at least a valuable backup behind Deshaun Watson. It's a classic NFL move. Sometimes, teams see a diamond in the rough, a player who fell for reasons that might not be entirely about talent but about perception. Now, let's zoom in on the Giants' approach, because this is where things get even more fascinating. The Giants, under head coach Brian Daboll and general manager Joe Schoen, are a team known for their strategic patience and careful evaluation. They had done extensive homework on Shedeur Sanders, more than many other teams. Reports suggest that New York was genuinely interested in Sanders, especially after the Browns' move, but they also had a backup plan, Jackson Dart from Ole Mississippi. The Giants traded 3 day 2 picks to the Houston Texans in order to move up and select Dart, a quarterback they believed could fit their system and develop under Daboll's tutelage. Interestingly, the Giants' front office and coaching staff were divided about Sanders. While some believed in his talent, others, including Daboll, reportedly had reservations about his attitude and fit within their team culture. Despite that, the Giants considered the possibility of moving up for Sanders if Dart was gone, which indicates just how high their interest was. It's a delicate balancing act, trying to land the best talent without risking locker room issues or long-term fits. In the end, the Giants made a calculated move, opting for Dart, but the story of Sanders' fall definitely left a mark on their draft strategy. Now, I want to pause here for a moment. Pause here, just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest New York Giants news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick, and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now, let's continue with the big reveal. Because what we're really seeing here is a snapshot of the NFL's evolving draft landscape. It's not just about pure talent anymore, it's about character, leadership, and how a player fits into a team's culture and long-term plans. Shedeur Sanders' case is a perfect example of that. A player who once seemed destined for greatness, but whose attitude and off-field issues caused him to slide down the draft board. So, what does this mean for the Giants moving forward? Well, first, it's a lesson in patience and the importance of thorough evaluation. They saw value in Sanders, but they also recognized the potential pitfalls. Their decision to go with Dart shows how carefully they weigh character and fit, alongside raw talent. But it also leaves open the possibility that if Sanders can mature and adapt, he might still have a shot at making an impact in the NFL, just not with the Giants, at least for now. And for the league as a whole, Sanders' fall is a reminder that the NFL is always changing. Teams are more cautious, more analytical, and they're paying close attention to what players do and say off the field as much as what they do on it. The draft, after all, isn't just about the best athlete anymore, it's about the best fit, the best culture, and the best long-term potential. And that's why this story isn't over. Shedeur Sanders, with his talent and his personality, will surely be a name to watch in the coming years. He's got the tools to succeed, but he'll need to navigate the league's complex evaluation process and prove that he can grow beyond the perceptions that caused him to fall. Now, for Giants fans, it's a reminder that your team always keeps a close eye on the evolving landscape, always looking for the best talent, even if it sometimes means taking a calculated risk. Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are known for their smart, strategic approach, and even though they didn't end up drafting Sanders, they clearly did their homework. They're building a team that values both talent and character, trying to avoid the pitfalls that have tripped up other teams in the past. And as we look ahead to the 2025 season, it's exciting to think about how all of these draft decisions will play out. Whether Sanders finds a good fit somewhere else or perhaps even with the Giants down the line, his story is a perfect example of how unpredictable and fascinating NFL drafts can be. It's a reminder that talent alone isn't enough, character, attitude, and long-term fit matter just as much, if not more. So, Giants fans, keep an eye on this story. The league is watching, and so should you. The draft is just the beginning of a long journey, and players like Shedeur Sanders are proof that sometimes, the biggest surprises come from the most unexpected places. And whether he hits, misses, or evolves into something great, one thing is certain, the NFL will continue to be a game of talent, character, and opportunity. And now, New York Giants fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Giants. Do you think Sanders will prove the league wrong? Or do you believe his fall was justified? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more news, and more insights on everything happening with your favorite team. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep supporting our Giants through thick and thin. Thanks for watching.